Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. I hope you're all having a great weekend so far. And Super Bowl is tomorrow or today, when depending on when you're watching this. But just want to give a small update to the DCEU. Not much, but there's a lot of conversations I want to talk about. First of all, James Gunn could have directed a Superman movie instead of Suicide Squad 2. Yeah, this is coming from Screen Rant, which is actually coming from the Hollywood Reporter, that James Gunn almost directed a Superman movie. Well, he was given options, right? DC laid it out. He says, hey, what do you want to direct? You want to direct a Superman movie, a Suicide Squad 2 movie, or Crypto? And Crypto ended up, I guess, being the Super Pets, which is kind of like that year's version of Teen Titans, the animated movie. So that's with that. But he almost directed a Superman movie, but he never took that. He went instead to do the Suicide Squad, which is essentially Suicide Squad 2, or you can say kind of like a more different set of characters in the Suicide Squad universe. And so, or a DC universe rather. And so that is interesting and very controversial, as I've seen on Twitter, that James Gunn almost did a Superman movie. But what I got out of that is that, wait a minute. You mean we're that close to a Superman movie? If the three choices he had laid out is Superman, Suicide Squad 2, and Crypto, and they're making the Suicide Squad and the Super Pets, they're really trying to push Superman here, and I love that. I think for Superman fans like myself, I love that because that means Warner Brothers is actually making that one of the top priorities. If this story is true, they're making it a top priority. Remember when we heard they're like, that's not top priority anymore. Oh, the survey didn't like Superman. Oh, we're going to do Supergirl instead. But if this is true, that means they are actively searching for a director for Superman, right? And now Mario Robles from Revenge of the Podcast, he also said this. He said, this comes from a THR piece that further confirms his reporting from mid-2018 about the studio meeting with various directors for Superman. He was told they spoke to as many as 7 directors. But here's the kicker. Henry Cavill wanted director approval. So that is also important, and that actually is pretty good news for Superman fans and Henry Cavill as Superman fans. So what does that tell you? If true, Warner Brothers is giving Henry Cavill the power to choose his director, which means they have not written off Henry Cavill as Superman. No, they are confident in him enough. They like him enough. They want him to be Superman enough that they're giving him Henry Cavill director approval of his Superman movie. So the two things you can take away from this, and this is great, is that one, Warner Brothers' top priority is to make a Superman film. Number two, they want Henry Cavill to be that Superman. And there's 3 things after. And 3, Henry Cavill gets to approve the director of his Superman film. That is amazing in all 3 fronts, if true. If true. And that's what this is all about. It's all about hope. Hope is a 4-letter word. The definition of hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. And for a lot of us DCU fans who came from the start want Henry Cavill to be Superman. We want that Superman solo sequel, and we want it pretty soon. And just to hear these couple things, if true, it gives us a little bit of hope that Henry Cavill is still Superman. Not that they said Henry Cavill wasn't Superman. That's the thing. We have to take all this media blogger stuff and all these people who have sources and things check. You gotta bring it into check. We gotta really think about that. We gotta keep an open mind about this. And like I've already said before, and it's true, Dave from Film Junkie, it's true that it's possible that Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman anymore, right? And it's because he signed on to do that arc that Zack Snyder wanted, the one that he dies at the end, right? The one that's his arc. He's old, he's grizzled, and he dies at the end. You know, he self-sacrifices himself in Justice League 2 or 3, whatever those. And that's what was going to happen, and that's why he signed on to be a Batman. He wasn't looking at it to be in the long run. So yes, it makes perfect sense that he wants out because they're no longer appears to be no longer wanting to do that arc, right? And so we have to look at that as well. We have to be aware of that as well. That maybe Ben Affleck's a busy guy. He's got that drinking problem. He's also going into rehab and doing things. He has his family. He's a director and a writer. Got a lot on his plate. But he did like being Batman, and I think his kids love, as a father, when you're something, the kids really want you to be that something, and then you feel like you don't want to, you don't want to disappoint them. So I think Ben Affleck would feel the same if he's no longer Batman. And to the point, he hasn't really said he's not the Batman. So there's different sides to this, and there's a lot of different reporting about this. People like Grace Randolph says he's still Batman. Of course he is. They're just doing a younger Batman, Matt Reeves, which is true. That's fact. Even people like John Campea, who pretty much did a "I told you so" video on his channel. He even said that Ben Affleck still has like 1 or 2 films on his contract as Batman. So it's still possible he could show up as Batman, Bruce Wayne. This came out, and this is thank you to Louis Centeno, or Centeno. He tweeted this to me and told me to share it. Justice League star Ray Fisher says Affleck's Batman could still return. This is an interview he had with Inverse.com. He recently said this about the Ben Affleck as Batman. He says, "It's my understanding that it's going to be a younger take on Batman," according to Matt Reeves' Batman. Fisher says, "So that's not to say that our older version of Batman can't show back up." So even he is optimistic about that. He is really optimistic about that. And on both Affleck and Cavill's future in the DCEU, Fisher seems optimistic as well. I love working with both of them. I haven't spoke to them specifically about what the deal is. First and foremost, I'm hoping that everybody's happy and content. That's my major thing. So he's just cautiously optimistic, but staying optimistic and really just repeating what others have said. I think even the fellow over at Emergency Awesome also said that Ben Affleck could still be Batman because he still has some films on his contract. He could show up. Now, that doesn't mean he couldn't just show up in Birds of Prey. He couldn't show up in Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, I'm sorry. He couldn't just show up in another, or in the Batman itself, if it's part of this universe or not. Like his old narration or something like that. We don't know, at least I don't know, what type of contract that is. Does that mean a minor role contract or a major role contract? I don't know if there's such a thing to see as both. So it could be, that's why maybe some people are saying it's either 1 or 2, because being in Suicide Squad is a minor role, and he wasn't even, I think, I gotta look back, but I think he wasn't even credited in the credits. But there could be something about that as well. So 1 or 2 movies down the line. That doesn't mean for us hopeful of the DCU seeing the Justice League Part 2 or 3 that he could show up there. I'm just not saying that. I'm just saying that it's possible to be optimistic that he could return as Batman. And so it's great things these things have said. These people have said, and people in the industry have said. Of course, we also have the other side who says he's done. Margot is done. Umberto is done. These guys as well. But I mean, that's the thing, though. It's very hard to determine who we should listen to. In terms of we're always dependent on these scoopers. We're dependent on these people who say they have sources, whether how many followers or not how many followers we're not. There's so much speculation about whether Ben Affleck's going to be Batman in this. Are they going to make Justice League 2? They're going to make Man of Steel 2. Henry Cavill's still Superman. Even down to the little things like the Birds of Prey set reveal of Margot Robbie, and she on her tattoo it says Pudding and Harley, and Pudding, Pudding equals Joker is crossed off on our legs. So you can see from that, it's like, so what does that mean? That means Harley and Joker kind of split ways. Or does that kind of mean, like Eric Blake, who is also Hardball Entertainment, he had said that it's because that's from the Ayer cut. In the Ayer cut, in the movie, Harley had kind of, thrown away Joker to help her friends, which David Ayer had said, he tweeted out. And so that made more sense than the one we got in theaters where Joker comes and rescues her, right? So there's that. I mean, is that possible? Or, it could happen between that, the Suicide Squad theatrical until Birds of Prey, something happened that split their ways. That could happen as well. But, it depends on who you talk to and depends on what you believe. But that's the thing. There is nothing concrete here. There is absolutely nothing concrete here than what we've heard from Warner Brothers, what we've heard in quotes. Everything else that is not in quotes is pure speculation. And so if we are going off on speculation, why do we believe one side but not the other? Right? So we got people in We Hope to Believe, and that's like fellows like Louis Santino or Lord Paulus even incorporated, right? They say some major stuff. And some stuff that may or may not come true. But we're hopeful. I mean, it sounds like a dream. Of course, Justice League 1, Justice League 2, Man of Steel 2, Zack Snyder coming back. Things like Ben Affleck. Recently, Lewis had said that Ben Affleck is to return. He wants to end his arc the way he intended to back then by doing like the Dark Knight Returns death when Superman and him go against Darkseid. Things like that. That's amazing stuff. I really hope that's true. And it's the desire for that thing to happen, of course. But we have to keep an open mind that they may not come true. At the same notion, we've got on the other side of the camp, we've got people like the newest hot shot in Scooper, like who taught Daniel RPK came out and says, hey, this is the newest guy, Thomas Polito, right? He's the new hot shot in Scooper game, right? So there's that guy. All right. Well, that is interesting in itself because, well, he's just came on. And so a scooper says he's the new guy, and he starts spewing things. They haven't really come to pass yet. One is the Batman Beyond animated movie. They put it out there, and all of a sudden sites run with it. It's who's that guy? Why do we believe him and not these other two? And the same notion, why do we believe these two and not this guy? Or we believe them all? Who knows? But just looking at that, it's kind of hard to try to keep an open mind about this stuff. And then Umberto Gonzalez, him, everybody knows him, a scooper. He comes out and he's totally like, this guy is this so-called new guy as a scooper, and there is a scooper war, by the way, between those two. He thinks he's the newest hot shot in town. I tell you what, he is not, and I'm saying this hyperbole. He actually said it in a different notion, but he has said this, and he's calling out Thomas Polito, and he's calling out that he says he talked to Warner Brothers, and they said there is no Batman Beyond animated movie coming. That's just a rumor. They're canceling. Of course, on this other Thomas Polito camp, he's saying that well, it's early in the stages. Of course, they're not going to confirm it and things like that. But, who knows, right? Umberto, you're talking. You must be the biggest guy. You get to talk to Warner Brothers, and we have to listen to you, and that's the way he's coming out as this ace scooper. Kind of a douche, and if you ask me. But of course, Thomas decides to gather some receipts. Decides to go back in time to get some receipts that El Mayimbe said. And when he started doing it, at El Mayimbe, Umberto Gonzalez, if you don't know, a scooper, started deleting those tweets. And to the point that Thomas Polito actually had to get screenshots of those tweets and bring them out. And some of them you've already heard this, okay? This is the biggest one. Remember when, according to Heroic Hollywood, when Umberto used to work for Heroic Hollywood, he had revealed, saying that he had even made a video that Peter Quill's father will be revealed as the Kree warrior Captain Marvel in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. As you know, if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's not Marvel. It's actually, what is it, Eagle, or what is that, the Earth, the planet guy. So boom, that was wrong. He you're going out telling people they're not great scoopers in yourself, you're wrong. What was the other one that Thomas Polito came out? He said that this, according to El Mayimbe, this is for Justice League. The big bad in Justice League is none other than Brainiac. Brainiac is going to be the villain in Justice League with a cool setup. Turns out Brainiac also heard the same Kryptonian beacon the Superman set off in Man of Steel. The same beacon that brought Zod to Earth. Very cool. Very cool, Umberto. Which Justice League movie are you talking about? Because we got Steppenwolf. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy how this Scooper War is actually bringing up old things. James Gunn calling him out, saying, no, that's rumor, that's not right. Umberto even saying, if I found out who is playing young Han Solo in the upcoming Star Wars films, is that something you might be interested in? This is back in 2015. Chris Miller replied to him and says, I would, especially since we haven't started casting yet. So there you go. Do we choose to believe a certain person because he has more followers or more recognized in name than this other group of people who may not have followers or recognizable in name? They could all be wrong. They could all be right. And that's the thing. We have to keep an open mind and not just, saying one's wrong and the other one's right, when in actuality, none of this stuff has been confirmed until the movie actually comes out. There are only several people that can actually really confirm this. The directors themselves, the production company themselves, the distribution themselves, the people in the executive department in quoted themselves, not these sources, not these scoopers. They're there. They hear things on the street and they throw it out as rumors, and that's when the rumor, mongering starts. And, don't believe the bloggers, y'all, as Yahya Abdul has warned us about. Grace Randolph, remember when she went off on James Wan, and James Wan came back and says, hey, Grace, it's not how it is. There's things like that. So that's what I want to say. Keep an open mind. Maybe Ben Affleck, like they're saying, is not gone. Maybe Henry Cavill is still Superman. Maybe Zack Snyder is going to make another Justice League movie. Maybe Christopher Nolan. I don't know. Keep an open mind and just continue living. And we just continue watching these movies. Sooner or later, we're going to know who's lying or not. We're going to know if something comes true. Time will only tell, and that's why all of this is mainly speculation. Why? Because the studio does not want us to give us any information other than this little sheet right here from Fandom at Get Fandom of the actual confirmed studio films that are coming out. Shazam, Joker, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, DC Super Pets, The Suicide Squad, The Batman. So these are the movies so far on the DC slate. There is nothing else confirmed or even saying if they're even being worked on or not. And that's why we have all these scoopers and people with sources and things like that. But at the same time, if you're like an optimistic person like me, keep an open mind, you know, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Remember that. Let's keep continuing to enjoy the ride that this Worlds of DC, or I would like to call it DCEU still, see what happens next. In the meantime, there is a petition going out, another one for release the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Jason Maher has started this petition. We only got about 90 signs. We're trying to get to 100. Well, that's actually kind of amazing. By 48, I signed on today and already reached up to 90. But I'm going to share this in my description below, so please go ahead and sign it if you care to be part of the Release the Snyder Cut movement in a way by just signing that petition, clicking, put your name out if you want to, and let's see how big this one can rise up to, if there's still people interested in the Snyder Cut. And there is people in the production company now, just recently, what's his name, Patopoulos, where I just totally lost it, but the production designer had actually recently on Instagram says that he's very much want to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League for sure. He wants to see that, and he totally supports that, and so that's great. Knowing that, where I'm getting Patrick Tatopoulos, he's the production designer of BVS and Justice League. JS Custom Art Designs 916 says, at P Tatopoulos, sir, just out of curiosity, are you with the Release the Snyder Cut movement of Justice League? I know there's stuff cut out of the film that you designed, such as Ray Fisher, football gear. And so, production designer of Justice League says, absolutely, of course we should see Zach's cut, and I would love to see Zach's cut. Unfortunately, I don't really know where things are at in that manner. So he's also hopefully, and he also doesn't know. So nobody knows, really, where it's at, if it's at anything at all. But like I said, continue hoping. Zack Snyder's birthday is coming up. I think it said March 1st. And we're putting up together a video of a compilation of people saying happy birthday to Zack Snyder. As you know, you see him wearing that shirt. So would be wearing this shirt saying happy birthday, a couple seconds. As soon as I try to get nailed down, I'll probably remind you guys again as soon as I nail down where to send that video, if anything, and I'll let you know about that later on. But in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope your team, whatever your team wins, hopefully you get some great Super Bowl trailers. That Hobbs and Shaw was awesome. I love that. Want to see what other Super Bowl trailers are coming out this weekend, and then I'll see you next week. I'll be going on a trip again, so I might not be able to do another video until Monday or Tuesday night. And until then, you can also watch. I was recently on the vodka stream yesterday with Dave Pina on his vodka stream, and had a great time talking to Dave about all sorts of things beyond DCEU, beyond DC as well, and that was a lot of fun to be had, and great drink. I haven't had that vodka since my wedding. It was frozen bottle. Pulled it out because that was the only vodka. I'm a Guinness guy. I'm a stout guy. So that was quite something. But it was fun. Maybe I can do it again next Friday. Who knows? But until then, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.